Hello and welcome to your build-up show for Sheffield United against West Ham United, 2 p.m. kickoff at Bramall Lane. So lineups are 4 minutes away elsewhere in the Premier League. Currently it's Fulham 1, Everton 3 at half-time. Joined by Gonzo as always. Gonzo, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Good, yeah. Sorry, I got that. I got Everton 3, Fulham 1 on my bet.
Well, it's half-time. I think you're going to lose your bet.
I think I can lose my bet. Ah, damn it. Never mind. How are you, all right?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm looking forward to the game, actually. You're looking forward to our game, that is. Are you looking forward to it?
I am now. Yeah, I am actually more than most. It seems. I think the international break has. I've had enough of it, So yeah, looking forward to getting back to football.
Are you still feeling? Before we see the lineups, in the preview we've done it. You went for a draw. You were feeling a little bit nervous ahead of this one. Is that nerves still there?
The nerves aren't there, no, because I'm looking forward to the game. And funny, someone just messaged me on YouTube. Colm has just messaged me on YouTube, and he was saying he was feeling nervous about it, and I was less so. But then I can't quite shift the concern about us restarting. About we have an international break, we do not handle it well. I've got to say, and that's my biggest concern. I think we're better than Sheffield United. I think we've got better players than them. We've got more momentum. We're higher up in the league, but still, I just can't quite shift that from. Just every time we seem to take a couple of weeks off, we sort of struggle with it, really, which is strangely ironic because it was actually during Moyes' first stint, when actually some time away propelled us to getting out of the relegation zone because he took the players to Miami, if you remember. And so I don't know. Hopefully, I'm assuming because he's quite a thorough manager, isn't he? And he's got a good coaching staff around him. I'm hoping that he knows. He's noticed that trend of us not bouncing back well from a break, and hopefully that's something that they've been able to address. But obviously we do have a few players that have disappeared on international duty, and obviously Sheffield United less so, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I guess it makes it difficult for the manager. I think they were trying to make this point about Chelsea yesterday when they took on Newcastle. Newcastle barely did anything. They barely got out of the half, and they were trying to say, hang on a minute, Newcastle, you've had most of your players have been there 2 weeks you've had them at the training ground now. All Chelsea players have been scattered all around the world. Ziyech's been playing over in Africa, yet he's come in for a Saturday kickoff. They said he would have got into London at Thursday, early as possible Thursday, and gone straight on a bus or train or whatever and up to Newcastle. So they wouldn't have even had a training session together. They might have had one, if that, and that's it. And I guess West Ham's in a similar circumstance that they would have got back to the training ground on Thursday, might have even had Thursday off, and then they would have got back in on Friday. They sort of had 1 day's training, maybe a light thing yesterday. So they only had a day and a half training ahead of this game. So it's difficult while it's a mentality thing, the sloppiness after an international break can be a fatigue thing and just a mental thing or an attitude thing. You almost can't influence the tactic side of it, if you like, because you just not got the players on the training ground. Lineups are out in a minute. There is people were unsure if Balbuena would be starting today after his flights were getting delayed, but we'll wait and see. Apparently he is starting, but the confirmation will be out in the next.
What Balbuena is?
Apparently.
See, that's interesting because obviously what you said about what was his name, Ziyech?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Africa. See, that doesn't make a lot of difference because it's on a similar longitude, so you're not going to get the jet lag. But it's when you start going the other way. I would be really surprised if he did start. That is particularly if he was late onto the plane. Not his fault apparently. He didn't oversleep and missed the plane. Balbuena apparently. They're struggling with flights. Yeah, I would be surprised if he's included, I've got to say.
Well, your surprise is confirmed. The West Ham starting 11 it's unchanged from Fulham. Fabianski is in goal with a back three of Balbuena, Ogbonna and Aaron Creswell, with Souček and Rice sitting in midfield with Masuaku and Sofal either side of them, with Pablo Fornals and Jared Bowen playing just behind Sebastian Elliott. But there is a surprise on the bench. We'll get onto the bench in a second for the surprise factor. But let
me guess when we get to it. Let me guess the surprise.
Okay, we'll do that in a minute though. We'll deal with the starting 11. The starting 11 is, to be honest with you, is as expected. We thought Balbuena might not be playing because of David Moyes' comments essentially. Moyes hadn't said that. I think we'd have all expected Balbuena to play. So it was David Moyes that actually threw doubt on his inclusion. But this is now Fulham away. Liverpool away, Fulham at home, and Sheffield United away. The same team in all three. We're pretty much attacking every single game with the same. On paper, I know we tweak it slightly, but on paper it's the exact same lineup.
Yeah, I mean, he will think if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and it really isn't broke. I mean, you mentioned in the breakfast build-up show this morning about when was the last time we played a team with two strikers, and I gave it some thought, ironically, after the video, and of course it was Newcastle, but with Newcastle we played with four at the back, so I'm not entirely sure we're going to see the same thing here. We do have an additional defender in there if McBurney starts pulling off. If McBurney starts pulling away from Aaron Cresswell, when it's not going to be the same as that we worried about. We do have an additional defender in there rather than sort of Andy Carroll sort of isolating Cresswell. It lacks a little bit of fantasy because obviously we all wanted, many of us wanted to see Ben Rama in there, but yeah, you got to go with it. You got to sort of trust him, and I guess the only disappointing thing is you sort of almost wonder if he's going to try and grind it out now, and I just worry about our lack of pace on the counter attack. Gio, as always, no pace to counter with, which is a massive worry.
Yeah, Sebastian Haller gets another opportunity, but time's running out for him with Mikel Antonio back in training on Friday. This is, I'm not going to say he's fortunate to have today, but if Antonio was 100% fit for this one, I don't know if Haller would have continued to start. So Haller's starting because of Antonio rather than Haller starting because of Haller, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he's really got to do something. He's got to perform today. It's not a surprising 11. I just think it's a bit not frustrating. It's a very slight concern that we're approaching every game with the same line-up information and stuff, and you can do that when you're Liverpool and Man City and say to the opposition, what are you going to do? Because you know what we're going to do. What are you going to do? But it would have been nice to see a bit of variation, but I can understand it. Anyway, the bench, what's your surprise factor?
Okay, give me three guesses. No, Antonio.
Correct.
Oh.
You got it in one. And the bench for West Ham today is Randolph, Diop, Ben Johnson, Mark Noble, Robert Snodgrass, Manuel Lanzini and Saeed Ben Rama. Just to confirm, Yarmolenko has COVID, that's why he's not involved. No Ryan Fredericks, so we'd have to assume he's got some sort of knock as well. But Mikel Antonio does not make the bench.
He's not fit then, so I mean we can't really have any complaints about that, I guess, or the inclusion of Haller. If Antonio's not fit, he's not fit. There you go. He just wanted people to sign up to his Twitch account.
Well, but I say this is where it gets a little bit like grey, doesn't it? If Mikel Antonio had said nothing, we'd say it's all right. He's just not fit enough. Moyes is being cautious. I think he still is just being cautious. That's all. He's probably looked at Sheff United and thought, we should have enough in that squad to win without Mikel. And if we can't win without Mikel Antonio against Sheff United away, well, actually, let's rephrase that. We can't win without Mikel Antonio against the side bottom of the Premier League. Then we almost have an issue because that would suggest we're now a one-man team, and that's the last thing we want to be. So I think Moyes is looking at it saying, I'm just going to take my time with this guy, keep him wrapped up. But the problem is Mikel Antonio's come out and told us that he's fine, and that's where it sort of doesn't dispute what his manager is saying, but it does show that Mikel Antonio is sort of chomping at the bit, feels he's ready to go, and the manager saying, hang on a minute, you're not ready to go, you're not playing. He's probably playing his COD today, isn't he, Antonio? He's probably getting an hour in on his Twitch before the kickoff.
He's COD on his Twitch, playing. Yeah, he's probably doing lots of that, mate. That's probably why he's unfit. But I don't think, we all like a little bit of conspiracy. I don't think David Moyes will have just taken this decision. I'm pretty sure that the medical assessment people, or doctors as some may call them, would have probably said he's not quite there, he's not quite 100%, and given that information, Moyes has probably said, okay, well, in which case we'll leave it, which is the right thing to do. It's the composition of the squad which is the enemy here in that sense. It's a shame. We would have liked to have seen him back, but you can't trust players to
especially ones like Antonio who give 100%. They're obviously.
You're absolutely right, Gio.
If it was a cautious player, if it was like Felipe Anderson that says, "Oh no, I'm fit," he probably is fit because he'd probably not play if he could get away with it. But someone like Antonio who run around on a dodgy hamstring. I mean, the fact is, against Man City, he came out for the second half and had to go off after about 2 minutes. So he was struggling. He should have probably been brought off half time, but he's probably convinced the manager and said, no, give me 5 minutes, Dave. Let me just go out there and try. And he's struggled after about 2 minutes and right now off he comes. I think Mikel I think he'd want to be on the bench today. I think they've just decided to protect him, which is long term. It's the right thing to do.
He's managing his eager nature, and it's good. It's good that he's chomping at a bit. It's good to have players of attitude like that. But yeah, clearly, Mikel Antonio is a player who not only is willing to play when unfit, but he probably thinks he can still do a job when he's unfit.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to save him from himself.
He's got a contract thing going on at the minute. It's not a standoff, is it? But he's by the sounds of it, he's trying to get a long-term contract at West Ham. Maybe not a big buck signing, but it secures his future until retirement, if you like. At the minute, it's if they were in negotiations, they've probably been put on hold at the minute. So hang on, Mikel, we'll wait and see how you get over this injury before we start. So he's probably feeling a little bit under pressure. He wants to get this contract in the bag while he's in good form and he's part of the first team now. Anyway, we'll take a look at the Sheffield United 11 now. We've done one half and then we'll have a little look at the overview and put together a little bet for us all to get involved in. So Sheffield United's team, they play their 3-5-2 as usual with Ramsdale in goal. Back three, one change. We've got Basham on the right, Egan in the middle, and Ampadu plays left centre back for Sheffield United tonight. The full backs or wing backs are George Baldock on the right and Lowe on the left, with a midfield three of John Fleck, Ollie Norwood, and Sander Berg. Up front, they've got Mick Goldrick and Mick Burney. What do you make of that?
Never heard of him. I mean, it's a bunch of journeyman footballers, basically, Gio. I mean, I think Burge is good, as I've mentioned before. We should be beating this team. We should be beating this team. I think we can only beat ourselves here. And I don't. The bottom of the league. This tells us everything. This tells us everything about West Ham and the new West Ham. They are an excellent stretching it too. They're a highly competent team because of their manager, who is an excellent manager. He really is, but he's got the most out of them. You read out those names there, and they're all right. They're all right. At the very top of their game, when everyone's playing together and all 11 players are all organised and pulling in the same direction, they're a really competent, decent team who can cause people problems. They really are. But everyone's got to be at 100% all the time. We don't actually have to be. We don't. We can be okay, then get a set play or something and score a goal. We don't have to be at our best all the time, which is going to be necessary, because I don't think we will be at our best today for the reasons that I described. They will need to be at their best to be in the game. It's and that's nothing against them. It's just they don't have enough quality players. In that sense, we do. Whether you like him or don't like him, we do have a £45 million striker. Our striker is better than any of theirs. It's that much is true. We've got an England international in midfield. We've got. We've managed to take the two best players from the Championship. Wilder didn't do that. Wilder hasn't got all the best players from the Championship. He got there's some players in there from League One, for goodness sake, and we should be able. It doesn't matter what their team is. We should be able to do a number on them. Yeah, they've got near enough the first 11. Obviously, Edna Stevens and Jack O'Connell out. But apart from that, I don't think they're missing too many. Obviously, Fleck coming back in today is a big boost for them. Ampadu's, I think he's right-footed. I could be wrong. I think he's right-footed. And if he is, that will impact their usual tactics with the left centre-back coming running out, because obviously they rely on their centre-backs producing the crosses. So if they've now got a right-footer playing on the left, that's going to cause a little bit of, not confusion, but it's going to slow down their attacks from that side, which suggests they're maybe going to be a bit heavy on the right-hand side coming down our left, particularly Berg there. Their bench, just for anyone watching, Verips, the goalkeepers on the bench, they've got Ollie Burke, Lundstrom, Ryan Brewster, Jack Robinson, Ben Osborne, and Phil Jagielka. Phil Jagielka, he must be about 40 now. But I agree with what you were saying. I think we are a better team than them. My concern is, I've never mentioned this in the preview, but I mentioned it on the morning video for the pitch, and I thought about it. My concern is, they're going to target Alan Creswell for this. I'm almost convinced that I'm expecting to see McBurney standing next to Alan Creswell for the whole game, and their tactics will be aim for McBurney's head. Like I said, I don't think he's particularly good in the air at heading. He's no Andy Carroll, but he wins a lot of headers because he's tall. It's essentially he's tall and he's good at jumping. He's just not good at directing the headers. Misses a lot of big chances, but I do think I expect him to win 75% of aerial duels against Alan Creswell at least, and I think that would be a tactic that they'd be looking to deploy today. I hope I'm wrong, and it'll be interesting to see how we deal with it. If they do target Alan Creswell, what are we going to do to help Alan Creswell? Because we can't just leave him. We can't just let Alan Creswell struggle, because their best player this year, in my opinion, has been Sander Berg, who plays to the right of that midfield. Their attacks tend to come down the right more than the left. Everything's just warming up for
Aaron Kress will be in for a long afternoon. I hope I'm wrong. That's my only concern, though. That is my only concern. If we can stop that, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll do quite well. We'll put together a little bet, and then we'll get into the final thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
lots of corners, Gio. Lots of corners. Let's say 11, over 11 corners.
Okay, right. Give me 1 second. Let me get this bet together, and then Gonzo will think of a phrase. So basically, if you've just joined us for the first time, what we do now, we put a fiver on Bet365. We do a little bet builder. We usually get juicy odds. We try and get between 30 to 50 to 1, and if it wins, we give it away to someone that's watching right now. We'll give you a phrase to say in the live chat. All you have to do is copy and paste it. Just wait for the first guy to go, and then just copy and paste his. Save you typing it, and then you're entered in. And if bet wins, we give it to one of you guys. So you're wanting corners. What did you say? Over 11?
Yeah.
So 12 or more.
However you want to phrase it. Yeah,
I'm just double checking. 12 or more corners.
You do have to be quite particular with it, don't you?
No, right. Anything else? What else? What you fancying?
I will go with Chris Basham, based on a chat we had earlier. Chris Basham to bash one of our players and get a yellow card.
Okay. Anything else? Any goal scorers?
You're the.
Who do you fancy to score for us?
Souček.
And then we'll put West Ham to get a yellow card. It doesn't matter who. That's 50 to 1. That'll do.
Wow, that's good.
So we need at least 12 corners in the game. Basham to get booked. Souček to score, and Sheffield United to get 1 yellow card. West Ham to get 1 yellow card. £255 for someone. If it wins, and you say the phrase.
McBurney pulling off Cresswell.
McBurney pulling off Cresswell. Put that in the live chat, and you're entered in. All you have to do in the live chat, McBurney pulling off Cresswell, and then that's you entered in. And if that bet wins, then we go.
And that's probably McBurney entered in as well. He's gonna pressure him like that.
What's your thoughts then? You've seen the lineups now. We've had a little discussion. What's your thoughts on the?
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually excited for the game. I really am. It's funny. I think I'm still gonna stick with my draw on this one, but that's my head is telling me to draw. My heart's saying we're gonna thrash them. I don't know why. My heart is saying we're gonna thrash this team. I'm quite excited. I'm quite excited to watch the game. Actually, are you sure it's on BT? By the way.
No, I'm not. I thought it was. It could be somewhere else.
Someone put it in a chat, will you? Let me know.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'll find out for you.
Stop writing rude stuff about.
They're all writing McBurney pulling off Cresswell.
Disgusting load of viewers.
West Ham, Sheffield United is on Sky Sports Premier League. Sorry, it's on Sky Sports game. My thoughts, like I said, I worry about Cresswell's height here. I thought Fulham in the first half were taking advantage of it. Kane obviously got his goal against us by pulling off to the back post, and Cresswell, he was nowhere near him. Even if he was, he's too small. It's not his fault. He's not short, but McGoldrick's a big physical striker. McBurney's a tall striker, and they're good at their crosses. They like their crosses. They like their corners at pieces. I know we do as well, but I think attacking them is very different to defending them, and I think you almost play a law of average when you play Sheffield United. If they only get 1 corner, do I think they'll score from it? No. But if they're going to get 6 or 7 corners, will they trouble our keeper? I think they're going to trouble him a couple of times, just purely through law of averages. So they're missing a couple of players. I think Stevens is a massive loss. I think that left centre-back position for them is really going to hinder them going forward, which is really strange, isn't it? Your left centre-back. It's like if we didn't have Cresswell, we would lose quite a lot, actually, coming out of that back three. We had Diop playing there, which really suffer from only having 1 guy to cross the ball from that side instead of 2. And I think that's what's going to happen to Sheffield United tonight, which makes me a little bit more confident, actually. I went for a narrow win in the preview, and I'm still leaning towards that, actually. Our bench, by the way, Gonzo, I'm a bit concerned. It's weak. I don't know. Snodgrass, Noble, Diop's only going to come on for centre back. Ben Johnson, he's decent, but he's sort of unproven, if you like. They've got no striker on the bench. It's a little bit of a. I know we've got Ben Rama and Lanzini there, but out your 6 outfielders on the bench, there's only 2 players you look at and think game changers.
Yeah, I guess so. There's nothing we can do about it now. Unfortunately, this got to be sorted out in January. It has to be. Regardless of whether it's loans or whatever it is, freebies or something, we need to sort this out, desperately. You're right. Funny enough, I can actually see Snodgrass coming on I could actually see him bringing Snodgrass on almost before he would bring on Ben Rama or Lanzini in this one. I just wonder. My worry. I worry that Moyes is almost tempted to grind this one out. The lack of pace is a massive concern because you talk about that bench. It's not like there's a load of pace on the bench either. Don't get me wrong, Benrahma and Lanzini are not slow, but neither of them are rapid. We don't really have any real sprinters in the team.
I think what helps though with Lanzini and Benrahma is they're direct. They will get the ball and turn and say, well, let's go in this direction. Whereas I think while Bowen and Fornals maybe intend to do that, I think Lanzini and Benrahma, statistically, if you look at who turns and runs out of defence a bit more, I'd say those two would probably be more than Fornals and Bowen. Fornals is more retaining possession, looking for the pass rather than running at a defender kind of thing. But those two are a little bit, let's take the defender on, let's try and skin him, let's try and make something happen. And I agree with what you're saying about bringing on Snodgrass prior. I think if we're not losing, if we are drawing, or certainly if we're winning, I think he would look to bring on the players he trusts more, the ones that have proven it under Moyes, and he looks at them and thinks, I'll get that guy on the park. If we're losing, I think he'd bring on Benrahma to almost save face, if anything. He sort of has to do, otherwise he's going to get criticised. So if he throws on his attacking £25 million player, he can say, well, I did all I could. So we'll wait and see. Anyway, can I get your final thoughts and your final score prediction before I get back, though? Stick around. Myself and Gonz are going to disappear in a few minutes, a handful of minutes, but Tom and Charlie will be live with their live watch along. They start at 1:20. They're right through to the full time whistle, telling you what's going on at Bramwell Lane, and they'll tell you if McBurney's pulling off Aaron Creswell. And myself and Gonzo will be back for the review immediately after the full time whistle. So, final thoughts, please, Mr. Gonzo.
Looking forward to it. Should be comfortable for us under normal circumstances. Lack of pace and international break are possibly going to be massive factors in this game. We've always got a very, very motivated Sheffield United. That being said, I think Sheffield United are always motivated. I think it insults them to suggest in their previous games, which have been close, by the way. They're bottom of the league, but some of their games have been close. They've not been playing a lot differently to how we have. I think maybe we've got more goal scorers than they have, which is obviously, I don't just mean up front, I mean from midfield and other positions as well. So, but let's see. I'm looking forward to it, G. I'm still going to go with a 1-1 though.
1-1. I think we're going to see more crosses in this game than I saw in my French homework when I was a youngster. I think both sides are going to look to get the ball wide, get it into Allaire, McBurney, McGoldrick. We've got a lot of really good players in the air on both teams today, and we've also got really good players that are capable of whipping in a decent cross. Norwood's good at set pieces for them, and Lowe and Baldock are really good at getting down the line. I think Standerberg's been fantastic this season for them. He's the player that really worries me, actually, running from deep. When I watched him, I always thought he was timing his runs superb. They'd get down the side, he would just hold back a little bit, and then he would come running in, and they were picking him out while he was running, and while he's running, the other team, the opposition, are looking at, thinking, where's this guy just come from? And we're outnumbered in centre midfield on paper, so someone's got a very difficult job to do to make sure Sanderberg is not running into our defence unmarked. That concerns me, as does someone going up against Aaron Creswell. Sort those two things out, I think we'll win. And I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with what I said in preview. I'm going to go for a narrow 1-0 West Ham, and hopefully we'll be giving someone £255. And what did we need? We needed Souček to score, Basham to get booked, loads of corners, 12 corners in the game, and then West Ham to get a yellow card during the game. Anyway, join us at the review, but don't go anywhere. Tom and Charlie are coming right up in the next minute. Gonzo, I'll see you after the match.
Au revoir.